in the Yoruba Konus, the Ronu Nazis, right? The Ronukus, who have said it publicly that they would rather watch the Fulani terrorists kill all our Yoruba Obas, kidnap us, than for them to see an Igbo man lead Nigeria. Others said, that, well, they would rather remain poor under the leadership of the Northerners, the Hausa or Fulanis, and even under Yoruba, than to watch a prosperous Nigeria under any Igbo. Indeed, that actually helped the Igbos to survive and to arrive at where they are today. Today, they are the most educated in Nigeria. They are also the one holding the economic capital of Nigeria, so to say. Wherever you want to see the commercial and all of that, monetary this and that in Nigeria, the Igbos are at the epicenter of it. These are the people that were given 20 pounds after the Civil War. They were told if they are to gain admission into any unity school in Nigeria.
So guys, welcome back to this channel. During the 2023 election and as well as after the 2023 election, many Yoruba people, they came out and they were saying that Igbos can never rule Nigeria. In fact, they came out to say that an Igbo man can never be the president of Nigeria. Instead, it's better they scatter this country. It's better they live. They are living in suffering and all that. That was what they were saying. And now these guys have come out and they are now criticizing Igbos. They are saying that Tinubu is even an Igbo man because they say that his tenure, his government is only favoring the Igbos. That is what they have come out. Just look at this headline that this man came out to say that P2B is the reason why Nigerians are suffering. This man said a whole lot of things in this video, and he's a Yoruba man. Let me just allow you guys to watch this video and see for yourself. I'll see you guys in my next video. But please, if you are new to this channel, just do well to subscribe, like, and also drop a comment below. I'll see you guys.
That's idiot as such, right? So it has become that, and unfortunately, it has been entrenched, whereby a lot of people are beginning to show much concern that they've only been there for 15 months. By the time they are done, maybe 4 years or 8 years, if Nigeria doesn't fight any civil war or lead to civil war in Nigeria, then maybe there is nothing that can actually really break that contraption. Others said they should keep pushing it. But there are all, initially people thought it's all just online. But for those who have experienced it, including the Yorubas who have stood up against tribalism, against this, especially those who are pushing tribalism for a drug dealer, a certificate forger, as Yoruba Omoluabis, who are called Omoale by this Omoale bad start, by the way. So a lot of them are beginning to speak out and say, man, it is just beyond online. In fact, conversation around this bigotry has become something of everyday life in people's compounds, in offices, and the way it is going, because that's the only way they believe they can actually keep and retain power. In one of the spaces they had on X, formerly Twitter, and then recorded, captured by this platform, one person was sharing what their experience was on this matter. So I'm going to take you through a personal shared experience of some people, starting with this, the bigotry that has been institutionalized in Nigeria for political reason, not for anything. It's, this level of a bigotry, tribalism, is not for the develop. It's not in the interest of the Yorubas. It's not in the interest of any tribe in Nigeria. It is political, and it is becoming more serious. That I have seen the Yoruba Konus, the Ronu Nazis, right? The Ronukus, who have said it publicly that they would rather watch the Fulani terrorists kill all our Yoruba Obas, kidnap us, than for them to see an Igbo man lead Nigeria. Others said, that, well, they would rather remain poor under the leadership of the Northerners, the Hausa or Fulanis, and even under Yoruba, than to watch a prosperous Nigeria under any Igbo. These are the politically sponsored narrative. You might possibly have been a participant yourself watching me, or you have been somehow pushed into this narrative yourself in the sense of defense that some of you feels like you are defending your tribe. You are not. A politically sponsored bigotry in Nigeria would only achieve one thing, a program, killings. And some of us are saying, instead of us going on to kill ourselves because of we are being politically sponsored to hate ourselves and even attack ourselves, how about we use the same energy into breaking up of this contraption peacefully and let everybody just go their separate ways now that we still can before it gets out of hand? Here is the first part of the chat. Please listen.
Same outcome. Be very careful. The wickedness you plan for others, lest that wickedness backfires, making them better and making you worse. It is happening again with this bigotry war. The bigotry you planned for the Igbo ended up making the Igbo looking better and you looking worse. But we are all one Nigerians, so we will take this stain. Nigeria is a young nation. If there is nothing, I thank God for the Yoruba. I thank God that a large number of them, and I would like to say a majority of them, are against the Rono ideology, are fighting the Rono ideology. And I must beg them to stay strong, because this bigotry thing can only be reduced bigotry to bigotry. If I was Yoruba, I would be pained. I would feel hurt. One day I might support this bigotry war, the other day I might not. But look at it this way. If I came out in a fight and I was fighting a man on the road that I never met, and I told him, I said, "You are a killer." The man said, "Yes, so I have one brother that used to kill people, but he's in prison." But that man now points to me and said, "Your entire family are ritual killers," and showed me proof that I have 100 people in my family who are ritual killers. I would stop fighting that man immediately and go back to my house to sanitize my home. Because that means if I win the Igbo in this bigotry war in public, the Igbo, I still have to go home and face the reality of the situation. I also want to beg any Ronu or people who think maybe another civil war. I see sometimes they write these things, we'll fight the Igbos again and win them. Israel is proof that I beat them before no be property. Israel is proof that I beat them before no be property. Israel has beaten the whole Arab world together in 6 days. The same Israel that Germany murdered by the millions. So if you believe you beat somebody in 1960 something and killed him by the millions, and you have pictures of them suffering kwashiorkor, I'm not too sure that if you fight that same man in 2024, he will not kill you by the tens of millions and you would have worse pictures. I don't believe a second civil war might go as easy as the first. For those of you Ronus that are here with that mad ideology, go back and tell your APC that anybody planning civil war, the Igbos are no more domiciled only in Igbo land. You will burn Nigeria to the ground. I guarantee you that. There is no state in this country where there are not at least 200,000 Igbos. That's more than enough people to overwhelm your army, your military, and your militia. Small arms when Nnamdi Kanu share for East, when they were still really fighting headsmen, we saw how it went. I repeat, Israel is proof that I beat them before, no be property. Go and watch boxing, go and watch wrestling. Nobody has beat Muhammad Ali, then beat them. Tyson, then beat them. There's no perfect warrior. Now every Yoruba, every Ronu, keep your sentiments aside. A ritual killing investigation department needs to be set up in the Nigerian army and the Nigerian police, with special emphasis on the Southwest. I've been watching these bigotry wars, and the only thing I'm following is data. There are at least 3 reports of ritual killing in the Southwest every day. There are at least 3 reports of ritual killing. These are registered police reports of ritual killing in the Southwest every day. That is a pandemic. That is enough to create. If there is so much fraud in this country, there's an anti-fraud unit. There is so much ritual killing in this country, there should be a ritual killing department in the police. I dare say ritual killing is so important. It is probably more important than EFCC right now. Because we need a department to get people educated that this is nonsense. We need a department to collect list of all fake alphas, fake mosques, fake shrines in Yoruba land and have them burnt to the ground. We need a department to trace how far this ritual killing has gone, because there is a cult in Yoruba land called Ogboni that has existed for centuries, that is full of ritual killing and is one of the oldest cults in Yoruba land, unless we don't want to accept facts in the Southwest. And the Ogboni must be investigated. I repeat, the Ogboni fraternity must be investigated. They are one of the big proponents of ritual killing popularity in the Southwest. They were known ritualists and most of the members were wealthy. Drug peddling. It's in the Southwest that famous actors have been caught for drug peddling. Famous Onis caught for drug peddling. Let us not be foolish as Nigerians. If you were president of Nigeria and the Southwest was bringing out all this information, you would be forced to nip this trend in the bud. Who wants to cry? Let them cry. I will say this also to the Yoruba. Nigeria is a young nation. Don't be afraid to embrace some of these things, especially the data part of it. Throw away the emotions. The love for fraud is growing fast in the Southwest. The love for cultism is growing fast in the Southwest. The depth of education and the rise of illiteracy money-making tactics is growing fast in the Southwest. Agbero is being institutionalized in the Southwest. Rituals is being institutionalized in the Southwest. Fraudulent churches and criminal general overseers is being institutionalized in the Southwest. In the East, we have to face stupid pastors. In the Southwest, you have to face deeply wicked, intricately criminal general overseers. Call the names. Adefarasin, Adeboye, intricately, wickedly criminal men of God. Down to TB Joshua, Southwest. I promise you, when Adeboye dies, like TB Joshua, 2 years later, people in Redeemed will come out with their documentary. We will be alive, God keep us. Same way we are shouting over TB Joshua, same way we are shouting over some of these men. And you people are fighting us. They will write, House on the Rock will have his documentary when he dies about the real things going on in that church. I am not worried. The Yorubas have held sway on the media for a long time. It's not a bad thing, but as a Yoruba, it's a problem. Let me explain to you.
Leaving emotion aside, talking about the bigotry that has been pushed and pushed in order to, especially the Ronukus, when we are covering up all of the degenerates in our region, and then we are using the media to change the narrative, talking about the ritual killings. On this platform, I was like, I said something about that recently. I am from Ogun State. And somehow I kind of feel like, even though they believe that Ogun State is named after River Ogun, but some of us believe that it's actually because of, our association with what do you call it, voodoo, this and that. And more or less like I, as a person, I believe, and I've seen it, where the sale of human parts for the people they call lekulejas, who sells a human head, mining of what do you call skulls and all of that stuff, But over the years, a lot of us grew up believing that all the vices that bedevils Nigeria, all of them are from the eastern part of Nigeria. Now, the Ronukus have unraveled. I mean, they have actually awoken some of the Easterners themselves to begin to push back and say, well, these narratives have been foisted on us, but it wasn't really that us alone. And right now, if those who believe that back in the days, they could push the narrative of a falsehood here and there just to stigmatize the Igbos, and at the same time denying the degenerates within us or among us, it's actually time for us to begin to look inward. Those criminal politicians who have been benefiting from the division and this profiling, they are also those that are commonly seen and known to be, when they are seeking power, if they are not involved in ritual killing or bathing with human blood or making a sacrifice with human flesh and all of that stuff. Now, the Ronukus have unraveled this, and that's why they said it is getting to a stage whereby all the narratives that they've pushed for so long are being pushed back. And maybe the end of it is just going to be what? A civil war. The guy is right. Right now, you will see that the number of, the non-Yorubas, let me even say the Igbos, who are currently outside the Igbo land, right? Mostly doing well as well, right? They can be compared to the numbers of Igbos in the 60s, in the 70s. And again, if some of us who kind of will look back then, Yorubas were stronger back then than we are now. We are more weaker now, where education has been destroyed. Economic viability of the individual Yorubas or the collective Yorubas have been sort of destroyed, only for the selfish criminals who continue to push the narrative of war, hatred, tribalism, and all of this bigotry. There is another one.
To BC, I beg, I go need beg, pardon, Mona, pardon me, because special guest of honor just enter the building now. I know they not go know him. The man, I wanna they call him that time. Oh, the man of Google. I be the Google of the man. I be the Google in the man, or the man in Google. But my boss, Sizu, I beg, take the bike.
My brothers, fellow Nigerians, God bless you all. Thank you for being here. Let me start here. A lot of us might not support or have supported what Harry was doing in the beginning. But God left Nigeria a long time ago. But you can tell that God is still very interested in Nigeria through Nigerians. There is proof. You look around Nigeria, you can see that God does not live in Nigeria anymore. But you can still see that God has interest in Nigeria through Nigerians. There are countries in this world that the country is a wreck, the citizens of the country are wrecked. Afghanistan, Somalia, all those kind of things. But Nigeria is a wreck. But Nigerians are not a wreck. And that is why I'm heading where I'm heading. It is very possible to raise a generation or two or three with hatred. Let us have no illusions on this. Dear Yorubas, please listen. We are a family. Lord Lugard and Flora Shaw forced us into this unholy union. And until this union is broken up, we must operate as a union. We have no options. You see the police PRO behaving as if it's the police PRO of Oduduwa Republic and not Nigeria. I repeat, the Palestinians, the Arabs, and the Israelites have proven that it is possible to raise a generation with hatred for no reason. Now, if we check the history of this country, you see, the last election taught me so much. I have an APC neighbor who would mutter some very devilish utterances, but he's highly educated, schooled overseas, and he has a group of people who think like this, so I can use him to understand what is really going on. My neighbor said something interesting one day. He said, one of the reasons I don't want to make Igbo rule this country, and I say, if Igbo rule this country and Nigeria works, Aboki people fit allow Igbo rule Nigeria for 30 years as long as as long as Nigeria they work. Write this statement down. He said, Aboki people fit allow Igbo, they rule Nigeria, they go. If one Igbo man makes Nigeria work. The second thing he said was that I prefer make I dey poor under Tinubu than make I dey rich under Obi. When you take the hatred, the bile behind these two statements, I need you guys to understand something. I think it was Velele. I can't remember one space where I was asking, I said, do you still think this Rono ideology is in the fringes or is in the mainstream? If a tribe has 40 million people and 2 million people are tribalists, that is 2 million people too many. Islam has 1.5 billion to 3 billion adherents. If just 1% of them are terrorists, that's 300 million terrorists. It's just 300 million terrorists too many. After the Civil War, Nigeria did something very stupid, but I thank God for them as an Igbo man. In Nigeria's hatred for the Igbos, Nigeria raised a super tribe by mistake. I repeat, in Nigeria's post-war hatred for the Igbos, Nigeria raised a super tribe by mistake. First thing, if you want to make a people richer, what is the first thing you do? Wealth distribution. One of the biggest problems every other tribe in Nigeria, Arewa and the Yoruba, will have is that wealth is unevenly distributed. Arewa has that problem majorly. So imagine a war where everybody in Arewa had their bank accounts frozen and then everyone was given £10. Arewa would be better off today, believe it or not. Everybody's account, Ganduje's account was frozen, then everyone in Kano was given £10. Arewa would be better off today. First mistake Nigeria made in creating a super tribe. The second mistake Nigeria made, thereby creating a super tribe called the Igbos, and which I still repeat that Nigeria should go back and execute this same wickedness, quote unquote, on all other tribes so that they can start catching up, was increasing cutoff of tertiary and WAEC, secondary and tertiary institutions. Every child who has a parent who forces them and tells them, you must bring first position, you must score the highest, you must score the highest. What happens in such a family? You raise a family of children who bring first position and score the highest. Nigeria used her own hand and told Igbos, you must score the highest, you must score the highest in all exams, and told every other tribe who, quote unquote, won us after the war, you can score the lowest, you can score the lowest. What an error. In redistributing £10 to everybody, my father tells me a story of how he and his brothers bounced back after the war. Their rent was about £20. They gathered themselves 6 men. They all brought their £10 together and it became £60. They rented 6 months, 1 year rent of £40 and shared £20. And those 6 men were roommates, grown men with wives. Until today, my father and those his 6 friends are best friends till today. They've helped each other in business and they're all multi-billionaires. Nigeria used her own hand out of hatred. So I ask you, if Nigeria went to Arewa, took all the money of Arewa after a war, and gave everybody in Arewa £10 and told everyone in Arewa, you must score the highest cutoff in all exams for the next 30 years. Don't you think Arewa would have a more intelligent and more business-minded population? If this same rule was applied to any other tribe in Nigeria, they would have had the same outcome.
To BC, I beg, I go need beg, pardon, mona, pardon.
Are you following? In order not to waste your time, this is the concluding part.
In a bid to fighting them, they poured all of that propaganda on another region. Unluckily for them, that other region got so hurt by that propaganda that they took it serious within their region. But in lying to you, you ended up not taking the problems within your region serious. A man in the media, as a Yoruba man, gets reports every day, Yorubas for drug, Yorubas for fraud. I would feel bad as a Yoruba. I would underreport that, but overreport the other tribes just to balance the Nigerian crime ratio. What does that do? It tells my people that you are holier than thou, and crime festers within my region while I feed my people propaganda. A man looked at statistics and knew that the Southwest was falling in all aspects of education, but kept pushing in the media that my people are the most educated tribe in Nigeria. What has happened? Illiteracy is rife in the Southwest. Most negative indicators in Nigeria will have the North, which we normally expect, and then the Southwest, Southwestern states. If you want to deceive yourself and focus on the bigotry and not focus on the data, the Southwest will drown while we're all still alive. I don't know of any other place in this country where people from the hinterlands are quarreling with people who came and kidnapped government from people in the metropolis. There is no place where Jigawa's people came and collected Kano from the northerners. There is no place where Ebonyi people came and collected leadership in Anambra or Nisha from the Igbos, but it's happening in the Southwest. What is that now doing? Everybody is focused on Lagos, and all the other states in the Southwest are suffering. Education has died in the Southwest, but the propaganda says we are the most educated tribe. Nigeria is a young nation. The most educated have been given governance, and the ones that have been scoring the lowest in WAEC seem to have run Nigeria better for 8 years. There is problem, unless you choose not to see it. I would be very ashamed if a tribe I beat in a war caught up to me in 15 years. I would be extremely ashamed if a tribe we all ganged up on, beat in a war, and lied on their head about what caused that war caught up to me in 15 years. Especially if I had a full-on government propaganda plan to remove them from governance, remove them from the civil service, and suffer them by national edict, and they caught up in 15 years. I would go back to my enclave and tell my children to copy those people, not fight those people. So I hope, with these few words of mine, I repeat, Nigeria is a young nation. There's the 1960 Nigeria, which still makes us young, and there's the democratic Nigeria of 1999, which makes us 20-something years old. It is very possible a tribe that has been the black sheep of Nigeria for a long time can end up being the white sheep, and others who have been the white sheep might end up being the black sheep. In certain families, the most troublesome child growing up ended up being the darling of that family later on, and the darling child growing up ended up being the black sheep for a longer time later on. Be very careful, Southwest. On every negative statistical indices, you are running at par with the North. That is a region in Nigeria we have accepted we need extra help. In every negative indices, you are running at par with the North. This has nothing to do with bigotry. This has nothing to do with... We were in this country, Lorry Benz was raining 3 years ago. They go collect girl pants, use them do juju buy Benz. And people were going to hostels and stealing pants. Is it today this thing started? Because Chidi is shouting about it. Was Lorry Benz not a trend in this country 3 years ago because we were not woke then? Is that Igbo? Is Lorry Benz an Igbo statement? Is it an Ijo statement? Is it Arewa? Even the Edos that I would say used to have this juju propaganda thing behind it. Where is it now? Where is it?